I'm Father Jim Forson, and before I give a reflection on the gospel, I'd like to invite you, if you could, to support this ministry that we're doing by telling your family and your friends and people who may not know of it about it, and in doing so, inviting them likewise to subscribe by clicking on the button at the very bottom. It would really be a great help to us. This ministry kind of grows more. I would appreciate it very much, so thank you. So, may I also offer you a reflection on the gospel of this first Sunday of Advent. And we begin what we do every year on this first Sunday, and that is preparing for one of the most wonderful celebrations in our Christian calendar, Christmas. We spend the next 4 weeks preparing ourselves to hear that fantastic message of the angels who come to bring glad tidings and joyful news, the birth of Jesus Christ. And so, how then does Advent begin? Well, it begins with Jesus saying to his people about how the world is going to end. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There'll be earthquakes and plagues and famines in various places and in the sky, fearful omens and great signs. There will be the signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. And nations will be in anguish. Men will die of fright. The powers of heaven will be shaken. Now, if that doesn't get you in the Christmas spirit, what will? I mean, why in the world do we begin this season of joyful preparation with such fearful imagery? Well, Jesus is not trying to frighten his people or to frighten us, but rather there is an invitation to a new way of living life in the here and the now. He isn't trying to frighten his people about some future event that will happen one day. Rather, he's trying to refocus their attention into how they are living their lives in the present moment. And he even says in this gospel, do not let your hearts become drowsy. And the literal translation of that word drowsy is weighed down. And I think all of us can easily understand that feeling. When our hearts get weighed down, when we are carrying a burden, when there are troubles in our lives, it feels like a weight. You know, I was in my backyard the other day and I saw this beautiful monarch butterfly. And it reminded me of a friend of mine, Bernie, who loved butterflies. And Bernie died a little while ago, and when I saw that, I thought of her and I began missing her all over again. And I don't like living without the people that I love. I mean, do you? Who does? And I don't like the thought of living life without the people I love. It scares me. It fills me with fear. The thought of my sisters dying, members of my family. I don't want to think about that. And likewise, it fills me with fear that thought of living without people who love me and whom I love and my friends. And sometimes I'm even tempted into that really selfish thought of, I want to die before they do. So why? I don't have to live with the agony of losing them? Isn't that selfish? But it can weigh down my heart. Fear is the thief of life. And so too can be anger and the resentment that can come with it and the years of turmoil that it can bring, where we can't find a way to forget or to forgive or to move on. And it's just a burden. It weighs down our hearts. And it's a thief of life. Guilt, likewise, is a thief of life. Or we've done something wrong and we've sought forgiveness and said we're sorry and maybe gone to confession, but we don't let ourselves off the hook. And we keep remembering it over and over. A friend of mine tells me how when sometimes he wakes up in the middle of the night and he can't quite get back to sleep, what comes to him are memories of the mistakes he's made in life and the errors, and it just kills him. And he was saying to me, why, when I wake up, can't I remember all the good things I did? Why is it all of my failures come back to me? Guilt is the thief of life, and I think the worst of all is hatred. Hatred. I've seen families torn apart by things like divorce, and battle lines are drawn, and who is guilty and who is innocent, and people begin to hate. Political arguments have divided families. People in families have quit talking to each other because this person supports that political position or that candidate. And sometimes people have told me they hate a certain candidate, not just disagree or dislike, they hate him. That weighs down our hearts. Hatred is the true thief of life. And Advent is the time when we hear Jesus say to us at the very beginning, do not let your hearts be drowsy, be weighed down. And Advent is the time in which we begin to realize once again our heart's greatest desire. And our heart's greatest desire is full life. Jesus said, the thief comes to murder and to steal and to destroy. I have come to bring life, and life in abundance. And that is the heart's deepest, truest desire. Life in abundance. And that is what Advent is about. It's about reminding us of why we truly live and why we've been given this gift of life in the first place. You know, one of my favorite poets, Mary Oliver, I quote her all the time. But when she was contemplating her death, she wrote down these words. When it's over, I want to say, all my life I was a bride, married to amazement. I was the bridegroom, taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing or frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. Me neither. Who does? So, on this first Sunday of Advent, if we find our hearts weighed down, you can be certain there's a thief running around somewhere inside that life. And we need to chase that thief away. On this first Sunday of Advent, we pray for new life, full life, life in abundance.